Welcome to video 11 on the creation of a model railway. In this episode we'll have a closer look at laying flex track. We use Peco HO 75 track throughout the entire layout, and actually that only has flex track available besides the turnouts and the crossings. The big bonus of using flex track is that it can be bent into any curve shape you like. You're not stuck to the fixed radius that the supplier gave you with the standard track. Sometimes bending the track can be a little bit tricky, but we use this little wooden jig for that, which has two cavities which can slide over the rails. So you can of course first bend it a little bit by hand, but to make it a nice curve, we slide this wooden jig back and forth, while with another hand we keep the track fixed where we don't want to move it anymore. And this turned out to be rather an easy way of working and create a curve. The question of course is, how do you know what curve you are making? Well, it is easy to make a jig. We took a piece of carton. In our design we said 600 is the smallest radius that we want to use, so we cut out a piece of carton with that exact radius, which is 585 in millimeters when you are laying along the sleepers. And yeah, then we can lay the track exactly according to that curve. That's rather easy. Another way of working can be to simply take a piece of string or rope, mark or determine the center of the circle that you want to make, which in this case we measured was over here. And then have a marker on the rope. Well, let's zoom in a bit and we can see that better. We just marked the center and the outer part of the track, and then you simply move that whole rope around and place these pins at the correct locations, and you lay your track exactly in a circle shape with the exact radius that you wanted. A third way of working, in case you don't need a perfect circle but more sort of an ellipse kind of shape, then we use the plastic strip and we bend it in the shape that we like it to have. Then we can mark with the felt marker the exact path we want to lay the track along, and that way we can create non-circular but very smooth curves. When you bend the track, then obviously the inner rail becomes longer, well, it's not longer, but it's going to stick out a little bit, like is shown here. So you end up with two rails that are not at the same position. There's no need to saw these off, or we use a Dremel to cut the rails. Just leave it like this, because if you are making a curve, the next rail will have the same issue, and it's even better to have the joiners not exactly at the same spot but a few centimeters apart, because then it is less easy for the track to make a kink, an angle. It goes smooth on. What needs to happen to attach the joiner to a rail? The rail has these little plastic holders, and obviously we have to cut away at least one, sometimes maybe two of these plastic holders, and then the joiner will fit snugly on that rails without the rail coming up and making a small hill or a valley. That's not what you want. So we cut away those plastic holders. We not only want to lay curves, we also want to have nice straight track at a station like this. And for that we figured out that an aluminum strip of 15 millimeters fits exactly between the tracks. So if you have 1 meter of this aluminum strip, it can be used as a guide to lay the track exactly straight. Such a long strip is not always handy. Sometimes you need to make smaller pieces of straight track, and for that we have 4 different lengths of hardwood, tropical wood. I don't know if a tree in Brazil has been cut down for it, but I had it laying around, and we have a few pieces that we can use for smaller straight parts. It works perfectly fine to have this as a jig. For the space between the rails, what we do in the curves, we always make the inner curve, the tightest curve first. So in this case, that will be this first track over here. And then we use a couple of other jigs that have 2 tracks at an exact space. They fit snugly on the rail, and with Peco track, 50.5 millimeter is the standard distance. If you have 2 turnouts opposite of each other, then the track will have 50.5 millimeter spacing. So that's the one we use most frequently. But we made a couple of others to give us different spacings if we like. And then what has been done is simply put that jig on the track, and then we bend that second track around the first one and keep it at exact that nominal space that we want to have, and that works perfectly fine. Using this set of jigs and these little tricks, we have already laid station twin woods. These platforms are just pieces of wood that seemed to fit. That's not how it is going to be in the end, but it's already looking like something. And then we have that whole curve here at the window side to station Luton, and that's all made with these tools and jigs that we just saw. And then we have I have to move forward. Then we have station Luton, which is already laid down as a base, but as we can see over here, this track still needs to be straightened with the aluminum strip probably. So there's nice progress, and let's say 1/3 of the track laying has been done, 2/3 still to go. Maybe see you back in the next video, and in the meantime, have fun.